Welcome to Now is the Time Night of Combat. I'm Malcolm Martin and I'm delighted to bring you more top quality Thai boxing action featuring the best fighters in the country. Let's have a look at tonight's card. Scott Chadwick versus Ricky Richardson. And England versus Thailand. Lee Chester the challenger versus Motek the champion.
Welcome back to this Night of Combat from the George H. Cornell Centre with JKO Promotions in association with Master Sken. We've had some fantastic Thai bouts for you. We've got some more to come. And over this series, you'll really see why now we think Thai boxing is the most explosive contact sport in the country. Stay with us, we're going to give you some more. Our first fight of the night, Scott Chadwick versus Ricky Richardson for the vacant SIMTA British Super Lightweight Championship. This over 5 3-minute rounds of Muay Thai action. Let me remind you of the full Muay Thai boxing rules. Kicks are allowed to the head, kicks are allowed to the inside and the outside of the legs. Knees and elbows are allowed to the body and head. No spinning back fists allowed, but spinning elbows are allowed. And the 3 knockdown rule applies. Let me remind you of the full Muay Thai boxing rules. Kicks are allowed to the head, kicks are allowed to the inside and the outside of the legs. Knees and elbows are allowed to the body and head. No spinning back fists allowed, but spinning elbows are allowed. And the 3 knockdown rule applies. British Super Lightweight Championship featuring in the blue corner Ricky Richardson and in the red Scott Chadwick. Ricky from Master A's Academy, Scott from Master Sken's, and I have with me once again the president of the WMTO, Steve Logan. Steve, typical tall guy versus stocky guy scenario.
Yeah, Ricky's very muscular, he looks like a real strong guy. I should imagine he's going to be quite good in the clinch. Oh, good punches there by Scott. So Scott seems to be trying to use his longer reach there, keep out of the way.
That's right, Scott moving around the ring, using the jab and the low kick, but caught there in the corner by Ricky, who proves his strength there in that clinch, Steve.
Yeah, very strong looking guy. Looks like it's going to be a very exciting fight. They're both very determined, very aggressive sort of guys. So it should be a real good fight.
Yeah, Scott Chadwick, the taller man in the white shorts with the red trim, moving around the ring as Ricky Richardson stalks him constantly, bobbing and weaving. Got a boxer's upper body, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got a great position. That's the great thing about Thai boxing. Obviously, all types of people can do it. Stronger, shorter, stronger guys a bit more flexible and speedy. It's a very exciting sport. But he looks very strong.
Well, Ricky working slightly the better in the clinch, and again looking to throw his man there, wasn't he?
Yeah, he may be a mistake though if he does use up a lot of strength, therefore sapping his own strength for later in the round. So see if it's a good move later.
So Scott looking cool, nice left and right combination there. Low kick from Ricky. Ricky already slightly marked around the cheek and taking some punches in return to get in there, Steve.
Yeah, they're both taking a few there actually. It's quite hard to separate who was the better man there.
Ricky putting some knees in, then nicely turned into the corner by Scott, who puts his own knee there, up to the ribs. Very even opening at the moment.
Yeah, very even. Both got their own strengths, and like you say, Ricky seems to take one to get in because of his height there. Seems to force his way in, bully his way in a little bit. It works for him.
So Scott moves away from his man, then suddenly moves back in.
Yeah.
But to me, Steve, both are very square on at the moment, so when they do come back in, those punches can go right through the channel.
Yeah, that's right. They've both got to be very cautious what they're doing. And
so referee splits them there. And again, Ricky Richardson, the man coming forward. He seems to be walking on, but he walks onto a lot that Scott's got to give him there, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, Scott's, his chin seems a little high. He has to be careful because, like, Ricky looks a very powerful puncher. Although Scott seems the fastest at the moment, he must be careful of that chin sticking up there.
And that's 2 elbows there, though, Steve, that bounced off the top of Ricky's head. First round.
Yeah, possibly the elbows would have made a score. And like you say, Ricky does have success when he gets inside, but he does have to take a couple to get in there. Another elbow there from Scott. And
a constant thing, Steve, is the way that Scott's happy to counter the low right kick with his own right hand, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Ricky brings the right kick in low and takes a big right cross for his troubles.
Yeah, he's got to be very careful. It could go either way at the moment in this fight, but I say Scott.
Now again, Ricky trying to throw his man, but how many blows to the head has he taken before he threw him down?
Yeah, and also the amount of strength and energy that he's using up trying to throw the guy. But he has took a few blows to the head, and any one of those elbows could potentially end the fight.
And again, as I mentioned before, both men square on. He took a good front kick to the midsection. And really, if you look at both men, Steve, defence seems to be the last thing on either of their minds.
Yeah, they just want to get in there, get stuck in, and finish the fight. But they've both got to be very, very careful. That it could be the fact that whoever gets the first good shot in is going to be the winner.
Obviously, Scott feels he's getting somewhere with those elbows because he's able to land them. He's got the height advantage, and he's tried that quite considerably when they're in those clinches.
Yeah, he's good. I think Ricky's doing the right thing for himself in that he has to get inside, because I don't think he'd have much chance on the outside, but he's just got to be careful of how many shots he takes to get in there.
Well, these are 3-minute rounds for the British title, so they'll have to pace themselves because, I mean, it's been a good pace throughout these first 2 rounds.
Yeah, very, very, very fast pace. Scott looks very composed. I think Ricky is too. So, I don't think they're going to have much trouble with the stamina-wise. Obviously, they would have trained very hard for this fight. They've known about it for a while.
Ricky got those prominent cheekbones that are marking and reddening slightly. You always feel that maybe he could suffer from cuts.
Oh, nearly got a knee to the... Oh, good. Come back with a good right hand there, almost. Both these guys are really, really going for it now, aren't they?
The problem I find with Scott is when he's under pressure, some of those hooks, they're a bit looping, relying a bit more on the arms, Steve, than getting his full body weight into them.
Yeah, and also his chin does come up a little bit. He's got to be careful. Like, Ricky's a very compact fighter. He seems to get a lot of body weight behind his punches, so he doesn't want to take too many shots.
When he's facing a taller opponent like that, one thing I'd like to see from Ricky, just as they're on the point of the clinch, is obviously to bring the uppercut through the channel.
Yeah. Or even the uppercut elbow, being it's full tie rules. That's very effective. Because Scott, with that height and the way he holds his chin, could be susceptible to either of those techniques. Yeah. Because, again, an excellent strength there from Ricky, but how will that impress the judges? Not really scoring the throws usually. They're there obviously as a defensive method, so they're not going to score too highly, to be honest with you, but it's a good way of getting out of the thing.
The problem for Ricky, to me, Steve, is Scott closes the gap very quickly, and he lands with that right hand or that right elbow. How round 3 of 5, and really it's still a very close affair, Steve.
Yeah, very close. As both got their strong points. Oh, another good elbow.
2 short rights there from Ricky got through.
Yeah.
And Scott moved back slightly. I always feel that in this fight, Scott looks far better when he is moving in and out, picking his man off, moving back out of range. Yeah, well, he's got the height advantage, and like you say, he's got very sharp punches, very sharp kicks, and really that's what he should do, try and keep out a bit. See, from there he does a very good knee as well underneath, Steve.
Excellent knee. Now back onto the elbows again.
Oh, he's going 2 uppercuts there coming in right above us, and the knee. Very big opening by Scott Chadwick to this 3rd round. Just as I said, he should keep his range. He proves me wrong by doing the better work in the clinch and at close quarter. Referee happy to let them go because they're working all the time. And for me, this is the first time either man's had a clear ascendancy in a round. He's come out in this third and really stamped his mark on it.
That's right, Malcolm, he has. He seems to be determined. Obviously, it's the turning point of the round, the third round. They've got to make the mark now.
That's right, you're past the halfway mark, and we can see a slight mark that could easily develop into the cut above the right eye of Ricky there. So those elbows have been taking effect, Steve.
Yeah.
And as we see, the problem for him is going to be constant, how to get him past those arms, because Scott's accurate with them.
Yeah, Scott's very accurate. His kicks are good as well. He's obviously got the height advantage. Ricky's just got to sort of bulldoze his way, and if he can, it's best if he can make Scott miss on a kick, and then while he's off balance, just get in quick then. But oh, good elbow coming through there.
I feel the problem for Ricky, as we saw there, when he comes in at one pace. There's no broken rhythm. He doesn't suddenly try to close the gap and swarm all over Scott. He gives Scott time to prepare for the way he comes in.
That's right, yeah, and Scott's taking good advantage of it. Oh, good flurry of punches there.
Yes, I feel Scott Chadwick, he's gone up a gear in this round, and I get the feeling he believes he can stop this.
Yeah, he's trying to catch him with those elbows every chance he gets as well. Yeah, he's...
But you see the problem there, Steve? Ricky just comes in at one pace. He walks forward.
Well, like then he caught Scott with a low kick as he was off balance. He just sort of hesitated for a second, let him off. He's got, like you say, he's got to get in as quick as possible before Scott can recover and pick him up again. I think Ricky's doing very well actually, considering the height advantage, and he is scoring with.
But you saw the way that Scott closed the gap quicker there. He suddenly shot across, low kick, right hand over the top. And Ricky will do well to have this break while his hands take back up. Because at the moment, this is a big round for Scott Chadwick, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the turning point of the fight now. He's starting to take over, and Ricky's finding it harder to get in now. He looks like he's limping a little bit. I don't know if his left leg's hurting off those low kicks. Oh, nearly.
Yes, I've been impressed by Scott's variety. He works well in the clinch. He looks comfortable, nice and loose, at range. And when he closes the gap, he closes it quickly. That's
it. All the Master Skins fighters you'll find, they've got a good range of technique with the kicks, punches and knees, and Scott's a perfect example there.
And again, that jab has caused problems for Ricky, who sadly for himself has always been on that range, hasn't he? He's always been at the end of that range.
Scott's arms there is very good. Oh, goes to the elbow there.
Yeah. And he brought the knee up under the channel, so really it was almost like he used the right elbow as a feint to get that knee in up underneath.
Maybe make a sudden attack after a miss.
Because those kicks, as you said, could have been taking their toll.
Yeah.
And the difference is Scott closes the gap very quickly.
Very fast, very fast. Very good footwork.
So round 4, Scott
looks like
Chadwick.
A bit of a lump over Ricky's eye as well. He's right eye there.
Yes, probably from those elbows that keep raining down. And again, Scott on his toes. He's looking confident, isn't he, Steve? He's looking like a man in the ascendancy.
Yeah, very confident. Oh, good head kick.
Ricky, to his credit, coming in close, trying to work close. But he takes those elbows on the top of the head. And as Steve said, more worryingly, a couple to the collarbone and the back of the neck as well, Steve.
Yeah, he must be a real tough guy. He's taking a lot there. He's giving the knees in, though. But he's got to get inside. It's obviously to do it because he's shorter, but at the same time he's got to watch those elbows because Scott seems to be dominating the clinch a little bit as well now. They should be taking the toll.
Rough right for Ricky Richardson as he tries to get in. Scott, he's loose, he's looking confident, he's picking his shots, and at the moment, headshot as well. At the moment he can't do any wrong. There's a cut there from that headshot, Steve. The top of his head's been elbows as well. This is superb stuff from Scott Chadwick.
Yeah, he's really going for it now. I think he's going to. Well, I know he's held on well, Ricky there. I thought Scott was going to stop the fight then.
And again, Ricky holding on gamely. But he's cut on the head, Steve. He took a head kick, he took those punches, and then 2 vicious elbows. Fantastic combinations from Chadwick.
Yeah, they are. Ricky's a real tough guy to take all that. He's still there, and Scott's just got to keep plodding on and doing what he's doing there.
But he's getting through with left and right elbows as well now. It's all right being tough, but he's not being able to block much, is he? He is taking a lot of it.
No, Scott's just got it sewn up now. I think he's...
Ricky again, his problem is coming in. He came in slightly faster that time, but he's getting caught on the way in.
Yeah, he got caught with an elbow then.
Well, this is round 4 and we're amazed.
When he's inside, Ricky's not doing enough on the inside to get any points. He's not kneeing or clinching properly, just holding on.
I mean, I'm amazed at his durability, Steve. He's obviously a very, very tough guy. But in terms of everything else, he's been out-thought, hasn't he?
He has, yes. He's getting caught now. Scott looks like he's trying to finish him off now, but I say Ricky's very tough, but just by picking him off now, he's clocking up the points, Scott.
Nice left there, though, from Ricky to say, I'm still in the fight. Cut on the top of his head. On the right-hand side of his head, he's got a nasty bruise, so those elbows have really taken their toll. Scott's been working the rib cage as well. And for me, these have been 2 big rounds for Scott Chadwick.
Yeah, definitely. Ricky's got to pull it out of the bag now with a knockout to win.
And again, Scott keeping his man away when he wants to, mixing it when he wants to, and he's chopping those elbows in as well. He's looking for them, isn't he, Steve?
Yeah, he's trying to cut him or finish the fight with the elbow.
Yeah, they both grin at each other, but another big round for Scott Chadwick. As we can see here, he knows how to use that height, doesn't he?
Very good. Very good. I say, oh, good head kick. Ricky does have success when he gets inside, but as you've said, Malcolm, many times, he keeps taking 1 or 2 to get in there, so...
And again, with that kick,
elbow.
It was the heel of the kick landed, the bone, and we saw the cut form immediately.
Yeah.
So here we go for the British Super Lightweight Championship. Scott Chadwick, we have at least 2 rounds ahead with 1 to go. Steve Logan feels that Ricky Richardson will give it his all here, and true to form, he comes straight out. But again, once they get in that clinches, for a tall lad, Scott's strong as well, isn't he?
Very strong, and like you say, he's got the height advantage. He's getting into here his elbows again, and Ricky's not actually doing too much work in the clinch there. He's not scoring any points.
Yeah, he seems intent on doing these throws that really aren't doing much for him.
No, there's no point advantage really, and also they're not actually hurting Scott. All they're doing is getting Ricky out of the situation, which is fine if that's what he's open to.
Now that was nice from Ricky. He ducked under the lead hand to get in. You wish he'd done that earlier, Steve, because he watched his man, ducked underneath, and got in close. Yeah,
actually I've been saying that he should be avoiding the kicks, but also slipping the punches as well to get in there. That's true. Very good point, Malcolm.
But once you're in the clinch, the problem for him, as you can see, there's no doubting his strength.
Yeah.
But that throw was after he'd taken 3 or 4 knees.
Yeah.
Nice low kick from Ricky, though. He's always been in the fight. He's never been winning it.
He always looks dangerous, so Scott can't really relax yet. Fight's not over to the end, so...
I imagine for someone at his own size at the weight, he'd be a real handful, Steve.
Oh, yeah, you can tell he's we know he's a tough guy. He's very strong, very aggressive, very determined. He's not going to give up at all. So it's just that Scott's just got that little advantage in the height, and he seems to be picking him off.
Yes, to be fair to Ricky, he's been hurt but not in trouble. He's never looked like he's been on the brink of going, has he?
No, never. He's always been in the fight. He always looks dangerous. And I'm sure when the last bell goes, he'll still be in there swinging and throwing punches. Again, took another knee there.
I've been impressed with young Scott Chadwick in technical terms and tactical terms. He's fought a near-perfect fight, hasn't he?
Yeah, Ricky does a good job. He gets inside, but then he doesn't seem to do enough in there to warrant getting in there, you know. Oh,
again,
attack. Oh, good uppercut.
And a nice uppercut on the end there, Steve. The difference between the 2 men is when he decides to close the gap, Scott does it very fast, and he's confident enough, as you saw there, to take time out to talk to his corner.
That's good.
The only ever time I ever talked to my corner was to say there was 3 of him.
Oh, look, he's still there.
So again, we think Scott Chadwick has proved in this round beyond doubt that he's going to win this title with a very technical and clever display. He's outthought and outfought Ricky Richardson, who we think will come again, but at this precise moment in time, it's just a bad match for him, isn't he? He's found someone that's used his strengths.
Yeah, Scott's fought a good fight. Ricky, you know, he's given 110%. You've got it, you know, you can't take anything away from him, but Scott has just been that little bit better. Just kept the edge on the fight all the way through. As I say, Ricky's still there, and he'll still be there at the last bell.
Yes, very strong young man, Ricky Richardson. But we feel Master Sken has got another winner, another a champion at British level, and we feel it's Scott Chadwick. The problem was once the distance was closed, he closes it so quickly, that lead left, the right hand, sorry, the right leg, and then he's in there, isn't he?
Yeah, big uppercut now. Oh. say, like as you said earlier, Malcolm, someone the same height or same size, Ricky would have had a better chance, but Scott used his height and his reach to great advantage, used it really well.
Yes, Ricky puts his hands up. I think it's more to acknowledge a great fight. I think... Yes, as Steve Logan and myself thought, very well deserved young winner there, Steve.
Yeah, he had it all the way through, really.
New British super lightweight champion, Scott Chadwick from Master Sken's Academy. I have with me Scott Chadwick, the new British champion. Scott, very tense opening round, but after that, you seemed to get the measure of the man and really started to grind him down.
Yeah, he was. I knew he was a lot shorter than me before the fight. It was just a question of keeping the once sinking it in once he got tired, and it worked a peach. Nice one.
Now, Ricky, to be fair, was such a durable character. You were coming in with the elbows, the knees. He was there, you hurt him, but I think if it had gone 7 or 10, he'd have still somehow dug in.
There's no way I could have knocked him out. It's a question of battling hard, making sure I wore him down so I won on points. I knew I wouldn't be able to knock him out. I've known him since I took the fight on. Everyone said, oh, he's tough, but you beat him on points easy, so I just went for it. Technique all the way.
The problem is, for him, not you, was when he got inside at range, so when he came inside, you were good in the clinch as well. You were using the elbows. There was nowhere he could go to get any respite.
All the way through my career, people have underestimated me. So, you know, he's just lanky, he's just skinny, just long front kicks, long jabs. But I can clinch all the way. It's one of my best features. And now fighting with elbows and knees to the head, I'll take anyone on. Anyone who wants it can come in this ring with me.
Now, if I can bring your coach in quickly, almost a picture book performance, textboock stuff.
We knew exactly what was going to happen. From word one, we knew guys come down a lot in weight. We knew he was not going to get knocked out. But he stuck to the textbooks. If anything, he'll get a rollicking afterwards because he didn't throw enough knees. He might have stopped him with a knee to the body. He wouldn't have knocked him out, but he might have stopped him with a knee to the body. But Ricky's a strong lad, good punches, and he just knew to throw the knee might have given him too much room to box. So I can't take anything away.
Well, he was a strong lad, but it was a convincing point when it was you all the way, and you are the new British champion. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Now is the time, Night of Combat, in association with ThaiBoxingWorld.com. Now is the time, Night of Combat, in association with ThaiBoxingWorld.com.
We're on the road again with JKO Promotions' Night of Combat. We were larging it in London, we blitzed it in Birmingham, and now we're mad for it in Manchester. In association with Master Sken. Tonight, we have some fantastic international Thai boxing for you. Said to you once before, if you thought it was good, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Now it's time for the big one. Thailand versus England. Lee Chester, the challenger, against Motega champion for the WMC World Muay Thai title under full Thai boxing rules over 5 3-minute rounds. Let me remind you of the full Muay Thai boxing rules. Kicks are allowed to the head. Kicks are allowed to the inside and the outside of the legs. Knees and elbows are allowed to the body and head. No spinning back fists allowed, but spinning elbows are allowed. And the 3 knockdown rule applies. Let me remind you of the full Muay Thai boxing rules. Kicks are allowed to the head. Kicks are allowed to the inside and the outside of the legs. Knees and elbows are allowed to the body and head. No spinning back fists allowed, but spinning elbows are allowed. And the 3 knockdown rule applies.
Right, history in the making here in Manchester. The first time the WMC has sanctioned a world title fight in this country between Lee Chester, the 27-year-old from Sheffield, been training 8 years, 18 fights, 13 wins and 5 losses, and Mopek Mungsima, the champion from Thailand, and yes, he is wearing lipstick. Now, Sandy, we think it's psychological, because if it's not, it's going to get very interesting in the clinches.
Absolutely. He's already planted 2 kisses on Lee. Hopefully that's all he's going to be planting on Lee. But yes, somebody told me before that in the dressing room, apart from the warm-up, he was putting lipstick on. But I think this is part of the psychological make-up, excuse the pun.
Do you think the colour favours him?
It does, actually.
So, start here by both men, 5 3-minute rounds. Motek, the Thai champion from Pattaya City, said his stall out early with that kick, Sandy.
Yes, and you never know with the Thais, because they're famous for starting slow. But then occasionally you'll get something like this where they'll start very fast. They do tend to surprise us. The Thais are very experienced, and we haven't actually got a fight record here on Motek, but I believe, and usually these type of fighters have around the 100 or 100 plus mark fights.
Because they'll have started young, won't they?
That's right, they start from the age of about 6 or 7, which obviously in this country tends to be a lot older before they start, so he's got a good advantage.
And again, you've actually trained in Pattaya City, so tell us the sort of fighter they breed, Sandy.
Right, well over there they literally live, eat and breathe Muay Thai. I've trained at the famous Sidyatong camp, which is not far from where Motek trains, and they just literally, as I said, eat and breathe Muay Thai. They do a run in the morning of like 10 kilometres, they train in the afternoon and again sometimes in the early evening. Incredible, and they live and breathe this sport 6 days a week with only 1 day off maximum.
Well, Lee, his first real initiative there, nice roundhouse of his own, followed up by a kick. Without tempting fate in this first round, he's doing quite well, isn't he?
He is doing very well. He's going to have to keep a very tight guard here, as you can see there, Lee, because he's already took a little mark there on the head from a very, sort of just a glancing elbow from, like you can see there on the left temple, just above the temple, where he took an elbow already from Motek. He's going to have to be careful. And again, that same elbow there, you can see it. Very good right elbow. And
he's bringing the knees in as well, so Lee Chester, very pale young man, marking up already, but he's doing well. But as Sandy Holt says, he's going to have to watch this man, because that right elbow comes across very fast and very sharp.
And that's where these Thais are experienced in the clinch. They tend to be very, very strong at knees and elbows.
And again, at the moment, Motek quite happy to counter. He's letting Lee come forward. Actually, he's calling him on now, which would frighten me with that shade of lipstick. So, the end of a very even opening round, Sandy.
Yes, I would say pretty much. Perhaps just a slight edge to Motek with perhaps those elbows, because elbows do score very highly in Muay Thai. I think he only landed from Thailand yesterday, so I don't know if he's going to be suffering from jet lag. Oh, lovely right elbow there.
Well, there's certainly no jet lag in that elbow, Sandy. He's got his range quickly, hasn't he?
He has. He's found his range very. That's what the Thais do. They tend to close the range down on the European fighters. European fighters tend to have the advantage of the hands, so we'll see whether Lee's going to start using his hands better in the second round. But the first opening round, I think he matched Motek very well.
Well, he's had a good look at him.
I think that's where the experience comes in there, Malcolm. Like I said, this Thai's probably had over 100 fights, and with that experience, you've got to be relaxed. He'll know when to conserve energy.
Isn't he, on that replay, though? Lee was, before he came in with that side kick, he just seemed slightly tentative.
I think because obviously he's come all this way, he knows that his opponent will have trained for this fight, so obviously he's going to respect him and he's going to take him very seriously.
And this is a huge coup, if that's the right word, for Master Sken, the WMC sanctioning a world title fight in this country, and a Thai fighter as well.
Absolutely. Master Sken actually, in the early 90s, it's 10 years ago since he brought the first Thais over from the World Muay Thai Champions. Oh, excellent technique. And this is the second time he's ever done this, and it's a decade since he did this, and he brought over 5 world champions last time. So it's good to see the return of the Thais again.
Yes, Motek looks very strong in the clinch, but for all his posturing, Lee landed with a very good right hand there.
He did. As I said, I'm glad to see him using the boxing, because this does tend to work against the Thais. Nice elbow there from Motek.
Yes, he uses that. He doesn't need any backswing.
Oh, and again. Oh, and a beautiful, absolute classic Muay Thai technique. So news just in there, Malcolm. I believe we've actually got some details of the fight.
Yes, Motek, as you suggested, Sandy, he's actually had 300 fights.
Wow. Like I said, over 100, but I was slightly out. But I can see the experience is phenomenal. I don't. Just before there, that spinning reverse elbow is a classical Muay Thai technique that Lee Chester did there and actually hit Motek. That will score very highly.
And that will give him heart as well, won't it, Sandy?
That will boost his confidence. Beautiful right uppercut.
Yes, so at the moment in this second round, Lee Chester's come to life and he's causing Motek problems. He's at least giving him a lot to think about, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He's fired up for this second round, Lee. It's great to see this because the partisan crowd here, the English crowd, want to see this. The Great Britain crowd are all behind Lee in this fight.
Now Motek very strong in the clinches. He turns his man well, but at the moment, Lee's using his own legs to great effect to jam any problems.
That's right. Yes, he's muffling that, which is good. It's a good use of this, what they call clinch work tactics. Excellent use there.
And again, brought his elbow down to meet that knee. So he's calm in there, he's controlled, and he knows what he's doing. And this is a very good round for him.
It is a very good round for him.
Motek expressionless again. It hasn't changed, even with that big right hand. Taunting his man, blowing him kisses. Calling him on again, but while he's doing that, Lee is piling on the points.
He is. He's actually catching him with some good use of the low point kicks, which Thais don't usually get caught with, and he's working those low point kicks very well.
So great heart to be taken from this second round. 3-minute rounds, not 2 minutes. Lee tucking in well. I'm impressed by his defence in the clinch. And so far, I don't want to tempt fate, but he's looking after himself very well in there.
He is indeed. He's obviously trained very hard. He's trainer there, Mick Mullaney, and Trix. Trix is actually a world ladies Thai boxing champion, trained by Mick Mullaney, and Mick does train his fighters very hard and very well.
As you said earlier about the boxing, the one thing Motek hasn't used much really is boxing technique at the moment, has he?
That's right. He seems to rely so far really on knees and elbows. Not a great amount of kicking either, which is unusual.
So, I'm going to stick my neck on the block here. I would give that second round to Lee Chester, Sandy.
I'm going to have to go with you on that, absolutely. First round evens, this is like if we had an unofficial scoring card here, I would score this, as you said, first round even. The second round, I would give that to Mr. Lee Chester.
So, at the moment, we have Lee 1 ahead with 2 down. And again, as you said, he's keen to use the knees, but Lee's thinking all the time, isn't he? He's using the elbow, he's using his own legs to jam. And Motek possibly hasn't got through with as much cleaning as you may have thought.
That's right, and Lee's obviously done his trainers have obviously taught him to sort of do a lot of jamming and breaking the system of the Thai, and it seems to be working for him. You can see that he's tapping away at Motek's legs, taking him off balance, which is excellent because the Thais normally have phenomenal balance.
So Lee, really, he's thinking a good fight as well as fighting a good fight.
Exactly. I mean, with 18 fights experience, you wouldn't think there was 18 fights and 300 fights here, would you, looking at these two? You
wouldn't indeed. Motek, again, it's hard to tell. He looks fit, he looks happy, he's looking around. To be fair, with 300 fights, he could bring a technique out of nowhere, I imagine.
Well, this is it. I mean, this is what you've got to be careful with the Thais. You just don't know when they're going to break free with something. The Thai there, I think he's taking this fight a little bit too relaxed. But there's
that elbow you were on about, though, Sandy.
Oh, that is an absolute beautiful spinning reverse elbow. Perfect strike. It was lucky he wasn't. Lucky if he took that on the temple or the jaw, the Thai would have been knocked out. That was a cracking technique.
Now is the time. Night of Combat in association with ThaiBoxingWorld.com.
So we're into round 3 of a very intriguing fight. 5 3-minute rounds for the World Muay Thai title. And at the moment, Lee Chester, we've got 1 drawn and 1 ahead. So Motek will have to wake up. Yes, his stall's been set out, hasn't it, Sandy? He's looking for those knees.
Absolutely. The only way you're going to beat this Thai, or any Thai in that matter, is to take the fight to them, because if you let them fight at their pace, they will control the fight. They're very good at ring craft. They're very good at closing your ring down, which means they'll basically stalk you and they will go at their pace. So you have to go at your pace, and that's what Lee's doing in this fight.
Well, Lee trying to say, if you can do it, I can, using the knees as well. It's a test of strength as much as anything else. The elbow, short chopping elbow there from Motek. But Lee's proving as strong as his opponent, which psychologically must be a good thing as well, Sandy.
It is indeed, but Motek's trying that little ploy there with a come-on sign, but it's not phasing Lee. That's the good thing about Lee. He is very tuned into his fighter, his opponent, and he's not being phased by any type of movement from the Thai.
Again, Motek calling him on. A good right hand there.
Excellent.
And I want to pick up on a point you said earlier, Sandy, about Motek may be taking this fight too lightly, because He's making all the right gestures, he's not being hurt, but he's allowing Lee to possibly pick up the points.
Yes, indeed. I think that's what happens when they come over to Europe. They underestimate the fighters because of the lack of experience that the Europeans have got in numbers of fights. So they just think it's going to be a walk in the park. And this is no walk in the park. Yes, this is a world title fight, and I think he isn't taking it as serious as he should be doing.
Well, maybe he knows something we don't, but on his performance at the moment, this is a very, very even fight. Motek looking to clinch on the counter and use his knees, staying out of range of that kick from Lee. But at the moment, not initiating anything himself, really.
Not at all. He's just sort of using all the movements and goading Lee on, but he's just not catching him with anything. And he's trying to mess around and play with his technique, but Lee is closing him down, and I'm very impressed with Lee's strategy.
Yes, psychologically, Motek trying to maybe work him into a mistake, cajole him, or even annoy him into it by goading him, but it's not working. He is so focused tonight, Leicester, isn't he?
Absolutely.
So Leicester sticking to the task at hand, not falling for any of the ploys of his Thai fighter with vast experience. He's just getting on with the job and doing remarkably well at the moment. In a way, you almost feel like you want to see Motek do more and justify his credentials, really, don't you?
Absolutely. With 300 fights, you're sort of expecting something sort of superhuman, really, but we're not seeing that. The beautiful flying knee there from Leicester. That's another classical Muay Thai technique. The Thai's being hit here with some classical Muay Thai techniques that the Thais normally use, and yet it's Leicester's with a... Oh.
Yes, the crowd went crazy there because Leicester, unorthodox boxing right cross, landed flush on Motek's jaw. He took it well, to be fair, but again, I would go with Leicester round 3.
Yes. Malcolm, because then if we had a score sheet here, we're seeing this fight the same way.
Picking him off. And there again, jumping right hand. Beautiful stuff, Sandy.
Excellent technique. I don't think we've seen the occasional punch from Motek at all. He's just not used he's not using the whole arsenal of Muay Thai. He's just sticking to the knees mostly.
Right underneath the guard, and just after that, Motek calls him back in to say, yeah, try my stomach again. Superbly conditioned athlete.
Yes, he is.
But I'm surprised. Another thing that we both know about the Thais is their agility. We haven't seen any jumping knees from him. We saw the only spinning technique from the English chap.
That's right, and the flying knee that we just mentioned. It's, you know, it seems you think it would be the other way around. You think we've got the Thai in the blue corner and the English guy in the...
That's right, I was waiting for some explosive techniques, and we're into round 4 now. Dangerous territory for Motek because he's running out of rounds. If he's got something up his sleeve, he's running out of rounds to show it to us. Yes,
he needs to do it now in these next 2 rounds, otherwise, if Lee wins this next round and it goes to points, then the Thai can't do it unless there's a knockout.
So Leicester focused as always, chin nicely down. He looks very calm and relaxed. He's fighting at the moment. Perfect tactics, Sandy.
He is indeed. And
so here we go, round 4. We have it 2 rounds to Leicester, 1 drawn. Motek needs a wake-up call. Maybe this is it. Nice strong roundhouse to the midsection, but he's back in the clinch with the knees. And again, through clever movement, Leicester negating a lot of that, stopping his man getting the balance required, Sandy.
Yes, indeed. This is very clever stuff on the inside. And for the uninitiated, people haven't seen Muay Thai before, you've got to watch this because it's very much like wrestling. There's a lot of moves in there that you don't upright wrestling, and it really is complicated. And this can tire so many fighters out. Many fights have been lost in the clinch.
Yes, the one thing that Leicester's done well is he hasn't let Motek exploit him in the clinch, and he hasn't let him sort of like muscle him out of the fight, has he?
That's right. He's stuck to a game plan. He's obviously has a game plan from what his trainers have taught him, and he's using it to full effect in this fight.
Again, Motek, a hard roundhouse. Nice first elbow he's got through cleanly in maybe 2 rounds.
Yes, that's right. He caught him in the first round and this in the 4th, but that's the only 2 elbows we've seen. When I say seen, I mean by Motek, because obviously Leicester's have been using his as well.
So again, Leicester being called on by Motek. Straight back into the clinch. Again, he proves he's not to be stronger than the Englishman. They're separated again, and away they go. But at the moment, I'd like to see just a bit more flair and originality from the Thai boxer.
Yes, I can't say it's disappointing, but it's because of the thing about it. He's had 300 fights. We were expecting a little bit more.
And as well, forget the fights, he's a current world champion. Something goes with the belt, doesn't it,
Absolutely. Sandy? He can't have had that many fights, and, you know, he's got to be quality acts. So, I could say, I think he's underestimated Lee, perhaps.
And another big roar from the crowd as Leicester continues his game assault on this title. And quite honestly, unless the judges are scoring it differently, he's doing everything right on our card. He's coming close to taking this 4th round, which means Motek would need a knockout.
That's right. And if Lee can keep to this, the way he's doing it, I think he might do it. And I'm not going to make any predictions, but I really do hope Lee can keep his composure like he's doing.
Yes, Motek looking at his man. That southpaw stance. And again, he takes the left over the top.
Yeah, excellent left hook.
Textbook stuff for a southpaw, straight right, left over the top, and it landed.
Yeah, Lee seems very accurate with his technique tonight. I think when he does make an attack, he does tend to, I mean, most of the time he's landing in the right places. He's very, very accurate.
Now, if we're making any sort of excuses whatsoever, could Motek be jet-lagged without realising it? Could it have taken something out of him, and he's just not got that sparkle, as it were?
Possible, because only landing sort of 24 hours before the fight, and I mean, Thailand is, you know, over 6,000 miles away, so it might play some part in it. And it might be the first time he's been out of the country, so you never know.
Well, we're back right over our commentary position, and again, Lee Chester is not allowing himself to be intimidated or dominated by Motek. A closer round simply because there was less clean work by either man. So yes, Motek really does, as we thought, need this round. And again, not as dynamic, but Lee trying for the leg there. But it's his hands, the right hand through the channel, the left over the top. And although it's not seemed to trouble Motek, it's scoring regularly, Sandy.
It is, and that's what's doing the damage. And at the end of the day, it's going to be going, it looks like, to points. And if that's the case, then Lee is ahead. And he's got the right strategy, and he's fighting really, really well tonight.
Now, without talking doom and gloom, is there any possibility that the judges might be carried away by the fact that we've got a current champion? He's from Thailand, he is a Thai. I don't want to insinuate anything, but could it just slightly colour their judgment?
Well, with any champion, and as you'll know this yourself, that you have to take it off a champion. You have to beat a champion. And the judges see that, which it seems this way to me from this angle where I'm sitting with you at ringside. And if the judges have seen it the same way, then he is actually taking it off the Thai. And, you know, he will lose the title.
Because that's a good point, Sandy. I mean, champions do have that slight edge because you have to really take it from them. But Lee is doing all the right things. Jammed the leg perfectly there from Motek, stalking his man. So he's telling the judges, look, I'm coming forward. I'm trying to take this title. But to be fair, champions, it's like a little extra bit of armour, isn't it? They've got the belt. They are the champion. It's a respect thing almost.
Yes. Well, as you just saw there on the slow-mo, he made the Thai, he blocked the Thai, he moved away from the Thai's kick and then counter-attacked. His strategy is excellent. Technique is wonderful.
Well, a final kiss there from Motek, but if he's not lucky, he might have kissed his title goodbye, Sandy.
Absolutely, the red lipstick hasn't worked.
Again, he really has to step up the pace now, Motek. Maybe he doesn't realise, maybe he feels confident and comfortable. But from this commentary position, it's Lee Chester that's made all the right noises for us.
It's the 5th and final round of this World Thai Boxing title fight.
So in the clinch where we've been so many times before in this fight, and luckily Lee Chester's had the perfect antidote to Motek's attack within the clinch, matching him, and really, for large periods of the fight, he started to boss him.
That's right, he seems to have stepped up a pace, he seems to be in more control even than the early rounds. And Lee is just, he really has impressed me tonight. He has dealt with his Thai in every way possible, and considering his fight record, he's got far less fights, he's shown a vast amount of experience in this fight.
And if he wins this, it's certainly a prestigious title, Sandy, so it's not as if Motek's come here with nothing to lose, really.
That's right. I mean, unfortunately in this sport, there's so many titles around, and this one is the business. This is the title. This is the one that everybody goes for, the World Muay Thai Council belt. And if he gets this, this is a great one for this country.
Again, a nice left leg there from Motek, but what disappoints me about him is he rarely follows it up. It's either a straight elbow, a leg kick, but there's very little in combination.
Yeah, single shots, as you say, and that's not doing him any good.
He's tapping him on the head to say naughty there. He is a bit of a character. The elbow came in from Lee while Motek was trapped on the ropes, but it shows his focus and his willingness to take every opportunity. Another right hand lands right above us.
Excellent.
And again, nice straight kick through the channel, followed by a right hand. if the judges are having any doubt, surely, Sandy, this is giving it to Lee Chester.
It is. The accuracy on Lee, as you just said there, straight front kick, straight punch, they all seem to be finding the mark, and this is what he needs.
And again, I find with so much of Motek's work, his knees are reduced to the inside of the knee, not the damaging point, as again, the inside of his knee just slapped against Lee's back.
That's right. Yes, they're not actually hurting him, they're just sort of collecting points, but, you know, points is what he hasn't got at the moment. And it's points, or a knockout. Well, he can't do it in points, it's impossible. He's only going to win this fight by knockout, and it doesn't look like this is going to happen in this last minute.
I've been surprised and impressed by Lee's defence being so tight. You thought if anyone could prize it open, it'd be a man with 300 fights, the current world champion. And really, Lee will reflect on this if it goes the way we think. As a relatively, he could not have believed the night's work would be so comfortable.
I know, I think, well, that's it. I mean, I am surprised as well. I thought the Thai would have been able to put a lot more into it than this.
So there you have it. I'm going to go with Lee Chester, and it's not a patriotic thing. I honestly believe the man has done the cleaner work, more variety of work, and without a hint of patriotism, I just think he deserves the fight.
Absolutely. I'm going to give it to him by 3 rounds at least, if not 4.
Well, if we're being kind, 2 drawn rounds, but 3 clear rounds.
Yes, absolutely.
So we've got a man with 300 fights who on our scorecard hasn't won a round.
I don't know what I could say. He's come over being underestimated, but it doesn't look like that of, like you said, with that experience as a world champion, you would expect a little bit more. And like I said, taking nothing away from Lee. Lee has come and done exactly what he had to do. What a beautiful right hand that was.
Again, after a big round kick, that's the right leg, the right hand straight after Sonny. As you mentioned before, Lee's accuracy should be the thing that really wins him this fight.
Very focused mind. You can see that. He doesn't look phased even now.
Well, here we go. Yes, Motek is shaking his head. He's looking to the corner, but as we thought, Lee Chester has won the title. ISKA European welterweight champion, but from what you were saying, this one, no disrespect to the ISKA, will mean so much to him.
Absolutely, it's a great one for him, his trainers, for Sheffield, where he's from, and for the United Kingdom and Muay Thai in general.
I have with me Lee Chester, the new world champion. Has it sunk in yet, Lee?
No, I don't. No, to be honest. I thought I got off to a pretty bad start. I was a bit in awe of him, to be quite honest. I didn't know, but after a while I realised that, you know what I mean, in the clinch he was superior, but outside the clinch I think...
Well, we were told that the man has had over 300 fights. Genuine world champion, the WMC belt, it's a prestigious title, but after that first round, you really just seem to gain in confidence round after round.
I'm glad you thought so, because for me I was just a bit too, I think I was a bit too lethargic, but you know, I've come through it. I thought the last 2 rounds I did get the better of him. I weren't actually 100% sure whether I'd got it or not, you know, all the way through, but obviously.
Now there's 2 things Sandy Holt and myself were impressed with. One was the way in the clinch, although you said you felt he was superior, you negated a lot of his work, and 2 at range, your punches and your kicks were very accurate right through the channels.
Oh, well, yeah. To be honest, when I was in there, I thought he was seeing a lot of things quite early, but my trainer Mick has been working with me, and to be honest, my dad and Mick and everything, I owe. Do you know what I mean? 3/4 of this is theirs. I just did the easy part. And, do you know what I mean? But they've been getting up with me at 6 o'clock in the morning and what have you. And you know, thankfully it's paid off. I watched the video, but I weren't 100% pleased with my performance. But I came through it, and you can't.
Now, at the end of the day, the one thing that he seemed to be dangerous with is he whipped in the elbow. Did that trouble you at any time?
No, we knew he was going to be good with the elbow, and you know, it's a thing that I've got to improve on. It's a learning process all the way through, and do you know what I mean? And I am fighting heavier this time round. I normally fight in the 67, the welterweight. This is like the super welterweight division, and you know, it was good, and God bless him. Lovely bloke as well, you know what I mean?
Now, you said it's a learning process, but you're actually going to be learning as the world champion. And I'd like to bring in the man that made that possible, who set up the title fight tonight, Master Sken.
Okay, congratulations, Lee. And I think as your challenger, you have done enough with a clear technique, okay? And as he as a champion, he didn't do enough, okay, to convince that really show the clear outstanding of the champion, and Lee have done enough to win. So congratulations to Lee. Okay, and I'm very glad to see that England we have got World Muay Thai Council champion.
Before we go, I'd also like to bring in Ali Jacko because it's a momentous occasion for us. Momentous, I should say. Ali, we've got a world champion, Lee Chester, and we bring his dad in as well. Let's celebrate. It's a fantastic occasion. Put into perspective for us, Ali, a World Muay Thai Council world champion.
Well, that's the best it gets. It doesn't get any better than this. The fact being, you know, the WMC world champ, judges and referees gave him the fight. And the fact being, he's a world champion. He's holding the belt around his waist. That is a great honour to have for us in England to beat a Thai. I mean, the guy who had almost 300 fights is just phenomenal. And we're honoured and privileged with Master Scan that we've promoted the show. And all I can say, let's bring it on and let's get it on.
Well, maybe we can leave the last word here to Lee's dad. What's it feel like to have a world champion in the family?
Absolutely brilliant. He's really worked hard. He's put every effort into it from last 5 years, and this is the end of it. This is the result of his 5 years of hard work. It's absolutely brilliant. I'm going to ring his mother now and get her out of her misery, if you like, but she'll be absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
Well, there you have it. We have a fantasy end to this show. An English world champion, Lee Chester. Well done, Lee.
Thanks a lot to all the boys from Sheffield.
We'll be back next time as we continue to showcase the very best in Thai and kickboxing from around the country. Now is the time, Night of Combat, in association with Thai